and welcome to this webinar on Aqua Data Studio. I'm your host, Anil Mahadev, and we will be going through the user interface, showing you how easy it is to get started with Aqua Data Studio, and then what we'll do is we'll leave some time for Q&A. This will be a 30-minute webinar, and we would like to go over some housekeeping items. In your go-to webinar control panel, you should see a Q&A box, and that's where you may go ahead and put in your questions. We also have the ability to ask any other further questions after the webinar. So you will receive an email, and we take feedback very seriously. And we also would like to point out the handout section where you can go ahead and download the additional resources. So really quickly, I would like to get a show of hands if you're able to hear me nice and clear, and also if you're able to see my screen, please. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so without further ado, I'll go ahead and get started. So what is Aqua Data Studio? Aqua Data Studio is, think of it like a Swiss Army knife for your day-to-day activities working with databases. So with that, you have the ability to not only configure, but you also have the ability to go ahead and work with those databases on a variety of levels. So today we'll be covering the ability to go over the user interface, and then we'll talk a little bit about how you can connect to the various databases and also perform queries and work with analytics. And from there on, we can then show you how you can build a simple data model from this tool as well. And we'll then leave it up for any questions. But please keep the questions coming in. And as soon as I get an opportunity, I will be able to go ahead and answer them. So what I would like to do now is to showcase a little bit on the UI. So here you can see we have our menu bar. These are all the items that you can work with. Then we have our toolbar here, which is our quick access. And you can also go ahead and drag and drop some elements here for that as well. And you can also go ahead and create a new folder, if you will, and give that a name. You can also go ahead and create a new shortcut as well here. On the left-hand side is your Server Explorer. Now, the Server Explorer, it comprises of all the list of local databases or remote databases that you have configured. Then you have the Files tab where you can actually go ahead and configure version control, and we will cover that. Then you have the Project section where you can actually go ahead and create a new project. So, for example, if I say new project, I can have some of these automated tasks that are available here that I can perform. On the right-hand side is your main interface, when here you can see is the SQL, the query analyzer, where you can actually go ahead and write your SQL queries. At the bottom is your results pane, where you can actually look at a grid view and the messages being displayed here. Now, what I would like to do is to showcase, let me go ahead and unregister the server. So I'll delete the server group. Let me go ahead and disconnect first. And I'll go ahead and unregister the server. So I'll go ahead and register a new server, and this will give you an idea of how flexible and awesome Aqua Data Studio is. So here you can see we have a bunch of cloud-related database systems, as well as on-prem Db2. Then we have Oracle, we have one with OCI and one with just the JDBC connectivity. And we also have support for SAP HANA, Snowflake, Single Store, Vertica, you name it. We have all the big names. Now, for any of the data platforms that we do not have native connectivity, you can always use the generic ODBC or JDBC drivers. All right, so what we'll do now is, for this demonstration, is I'll go ahead and we also have added Azure Synapse and Azure SQL database. So here I'm going to go ahead and configure a regular SQL server. So here I'm just going to call it as local SQL server. Then you can choose whether if it's a type of production development test. Mine is just a development server. And I can also give it different colors. So here I'll just give it green. And I can add a tab title format, how I would like the tab color, so that I can differentiate between the different query analyzers and the different servers. Next, we have the ability to choose either the Microsoft driver that you will install when you've installed any of the Microsoft client tools, or you can choose to use the JTDS driver. Here, I'm just going to choose Microsoft, and here you have the option to choose between Windows and SQL Server authentication. I'm going to go with Windows authentication. Now I can go ahead and type in my server address here. And I can go ahead and click test connection, and there you go. It goes and gives me this. Next, what we can do is we can actually go ahead and save this. So now if I expand this, now I can expand all of the databases that I have here. So here you can see I have a bunch of databases. So here I have the Wide World Importers, which is the latest sample database from Microsoft. So here, if I do a select 1000, it goes and brings me to this area, and I can go ahead and execute the query. And obviously go ahead and shorten this and do this here as well. And you do have the ability to work with auto refreshing the schema. So which means that at any time you make a change, it'll automatically go ahead and refresh the schema. Next, what we have is we can also have a parameterized script that you can enforce if there's any kind of a parameter. So you can go ahead and enforce that. What's really also cool is that you can also do an execute explain. So you can have an explain plan that you can work with here. That's also awesome. Now you can also do insert. One of the cool features that I would like to do is to go into the automate section, and I can just say introduce select, and then see that automatically ADS will go ahead and get that. So I'll go ahead and get this here. And if I just type where, I can actually say customer name like, and I can do a percentage, which will give me all the list of names that begin with the letter A. So let me see here. If I go to Wide World Importers, it will be under customer sales. So I need to do the sales schema. I'll just do that. So now if I go ahead and execute this, I get all the list of names that I have from here. Now, in this result set, we can work with multiple concepts. So for example, I can go ahead and take a look at this analytics workbook, or I can just go ahead and export this as an Excel spreadsheet. So if I say view as Excel spreadsheet, it goes and brings up this immediately. So I can save this off to my drive. I can go ahead and share this with my colleagues. And once I'm done with it, I can go ahead and work with this at a later stage. Now, what I would like to do next is to showcase some of the database administration capabilities available within Aqua Data Studio. One of the key things that you will notice if you wanted to look at the server information, you can go to the server support, and this gives you all of the information that it's using, and it gives you all the type as well. So here I'm using the Express Edition, tells me I'm at this level, what's the major number, what's the minor number, what JDBC driver we're using, all that good stuff. Next, what we'll do is to look at the server related information. I can go to my DBA tools and click on Instance Manager. This gives me all of the metadata that are present for the Instance Manager. And then I can look at the server logs from the SQL Server logs. I do that. And then I can then go into, I'll go into the Oracle database here now. So here I have a pluggable database as well as a container-based database. I can go in here and look at the DBA tools. Then I go to the storage manager here. Here you can see I have a different view, and it gives me all of my control files, everything here, all my table spaces, data files, objects, etc. So depending upon which table space you want, so let's say I go to the users table space and I just look at tables, it's going to go ahead and find out which one are there. So here, if I wanted to look at this, I can go into this. I can expand the schema. Then here under Anil PDB, I can look at this table, and I can go ahead and just do a select here, and there's my data. Next, if we're talking about open source database platforms, we do have support for this as well. So here, if you go again, all of this is being present. As you can see, I never left the console or anything, and I'm able to do all of this in one single user interface, which is awesome. Next, what I'll do is I'll show you how we can work with schema-related information. So let's say, for example, if I wanted to alter this table, I can actually right-click and say alter, and here I can go ahead and make any kind of changes, extended properties here that I have. So here I can put a description and a value, and here I can look at the permissions, and if there's any changes, it'll give me the preview of SQL, but right now everything looks good. Next, what I'll do is I'll showcase a little bit on the other area. So here you're looking at databases, then if you're having any snapshot, it gives you that. Then if you look at the management section, here you can go ahead and create a new backup. So here you can do all of the DB activities, any server level triggers, here all any of the SQL Server logs. And here's where you can look at all the current activities. So that's where you would right click and go under DBA tools. And then you can look at the session manager. So this gives you all of the metadata here. And you can also do an auto refresh here. So all of that is being present here. Now, within Aqua Data Studio, you also have the ability to launch a query analyzer or a query builder. So here, if I go into the query builder, this will enable me to go ahead and work with different databases. So here, for example, I can just say add a database and choose this. And now what I can do is I can actually just drag and drop this view. And I can add one more view here. And then here, what I would like to do is I would like to map the customer ID with the supplier ID. And here you can see it did the auto join. And then if I wanted to change the join expression, I just single click. And then here I can choose is greater than or equal to. Then I want to see all rows from customers. So I'll do a left order join. Next, what I can do is I can just highlight this, copy this. And then I can go back to my query analyzer, so which is going to be here. So here you can also go ahead and navigate. And I can just copy and paste it. I can then make sure that everything looks good. I can format the script. So I can add any of these if it's already not formatted. Then I can do an execute explain. And now see this. We have all of this awesome explain plan being displayed. And what you can do is you can right click on this and you can choose the explain diagram. This brings out a neat way of looking at how all of these concatenations have occurred. You see that? All of this is being displayed for you. And what you can do is you can go ahead and save the image, or you can just go ahead and do that. Now, what you can do is you can also add this to a whiteboard. Now, what I mean by that is that this becomes part of one of the many explain plans that you'll be working with. So you can have that to the whiteboard. And then if you wanted to view any of the result sets, you can just execute the query like this and boom, just like that. Now, what's really interesting in this grid view is that you have the ability to go ahead and look at all of these result sets. So right from here, you can just say view as text. And then if I go ahead and execute from here, I can go ahead and do that. Now, what you can do is you can also go ahead and look at, let's see here, the visual analytics. So this is where you can actually go ahead and leverage how you can start building analytics-based areas. So here you have a dimension and then you have measures. So here I can actually go ahead and add all these dimensions here and all of my measures like this. And then I can add the number of records to a number of colors if I have that. And I can always drag and drop elements like this. And I can make any of these bar charts, shapes, etc. Yeah. So I have those options. Now let's say I wanted to build one more worksheet. So I'll give this as, let's say, I'll just call it as customer view. And then from next one, I'll go ahead and add a suppliers. And from here, I can always go ahead and edit the query. So I can go ahead and just say select start from. So I can do purchasing dot suppliers, and then I can preview the results. Oh, let me do, it's only one supplier. So, and there you go. So now I can actually have this as a result set. Now I can save this. Now you can see here, if you have, I can actually go ahead and look at some of these columns that I'm working with. And then look at all of those in different colors. And then add some of these here. And there you go. Now, in order to view both of these, what I can do is I can just go back to the customer view. And here I can just remove these. There you go. So now I would like to add a dashboard. So here I can just choose this and add a dashboard. And then just like that, I can have it in any shape or form I want. So I can preview any of these. Now what's really cool about this is that whenever I go ahead and look at any of these previews and highlight them, I can click on view data and it brings this amazing view data grid that you can actually go ahead and look for. And if the grid is huge, you can just say I want to sort it based on one. You can go ahead and find that here as well. You can also select an aggregate function. So I can choose a count. So it gives you that. And then I can choose the min, max, everything. So it's really, really powerful. I'm going to discard this here. Next, what I'll do is let me show you the power of how you can create a data model from this. So what I can do is I can right click on the database that I'm interested in. So let me show you a different one. I'll show you a MySQL one. So here I'm looking at the world database. So it's got city, countries, and language. I'm going to right click on here and choose tools and choose ER generator. And we'll go ahead and choose next. And there you go. It automatically went ahead and created a diagram for me. Now let's say, for example, in your project that you want to go ahead and switch from MySQL to Oracle, for example. So you have the data model here. What I can do is I can actually go ahead and choose tools, say convert model. All I have to do is just choose my target platform. And that's it. Just in a couple of seconds, I have my own Oracle 19C based data model. It's pretty awesome. Then you also have the ability to view here, and then you can choose whether these are nulls, not nulls. You can choose which one design-wise you can go through. And what I'll do now is I'll discard this as well. And finally, what I would like to show you is the power of working with Git. Although I plan on a different session in the future, what I would like to just show you is that you have the ability to look at version control. And here you can see that I've gone ahead and added some links here. So here, if I go ahead and double click on this, and I'll just go to SQL Server, I'll just open it up in Query Analyzer. So here, if you look, it says from actor info. So this one, actually, I can choose a different database. So if I choose double click again, choose it from and query analyzer. So if I search for this, there you go. So now here I can look at all of the result sets from here. Now let's say I decide I wanted a different query. So I do a select start from city, right? So I do that and then I add save. Now you can see that I've highlighted this. So now all I got to do is just go ahead and go to my commit, and I'm going to stage this. And here I'll add it from city. And in another video, I'll show you how to configure this, and then we'll go from there. So here you can look at the committed stages. And now it's going to go ahead and populate and commit this to my remote Git repository. So now if I just go and just do version control, and if I do compare with base version, you'll see that my main top differences because I've just gone ahead and posted it. But what if I wanted to do one more query? Then I do this, I save this, and now if I compare this with the base revision, you'll see that now it automatically detects this for us and is responsible for that. So you can do a lot of those options and you have this. We'll have a separate session on this. But overall, I think that covers it. So what I would like to do finally is to just show you also the ability to look at our random table generator. So you can go ahead and utilize that once, and you need the ultimate license for that. So what I will do is just take a look at the questions that we have here. Is there a way to bring in an existing query, then build a graphical representation? Yeah, let me check. In the query builder, right? Okay, let me go ahead and do that. Let me see how we can do that. A great question. What we can do is, let me bring this one here, the previous SQL query that I had. Let me do this. Let me go into the SQL Server. Actually, I can do the query builder here itself, but let me just, if I were to go and say open, it just gives me this. It does not give me an option to, let me see here. If I say, the only way you can bring in an existing query if you were to connect to the database, and let's say, for example, if I were to click on this, and yeah, if I were to right click here and set as primary, let me check it in the SQL Server section. So let's say I go to this one here, open it up in Query Analyzer. So let me do a select star sales customers. Okay, so now I'm going to save this file. I'm going to go to the desktop. And now that's saved. Then what I can do is I can open Query Builder and just say new. Then I'll have to hit open. It does not give me an option to bring in an existing SQL. So let me try something here. Yeah, so it requires you to have a query builder being pre-built in. Then you can only save the SQL for later. But it's all from the query on how you can build it in. So apart from that, does anybody have any other questions? Have you folks found this informative? Okay, well, if there are no other questions, you're welcome to send in, go to our website, and let me show you how you can get to it. So let me go to a website here, and then here I'll show you, we have aquafold.com. So that's where you would actually go ahead and get to Aqua Data Studio, or if you're on the IDERA website, you can actually go to products. And here you can click on Aqua Data Studio. So it's going to bring you to the same place. So here we have tons of resources to go through. And then we even have a forum, and we even give you some of the technical details. So in closing, I would like to thank you for your time. And if you would like to arrange a personalized one-on-one demo with us, feel free to send an email by using the contact us form. And then we're more than happy to show you more on what the power of Aqua Data Studio can do. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.